farewell to a champion in the club last week, and you're going to do it again this week. What are the feelings like around Jack's last game?
Yeah, well, listen, it's going to be a big day. Because Koch and Jack are also finishing up their careers too. So, three guys that have just given an enormous amount to the game. And Zeebs in particular, we're well qualified to speak about, obviously, because he's been North Melbourne through and through, and captain for a big part of his time at the footy club, and such a decorated servant of the club. So it's tough, It's the realisation, I suppose, for Zeebs. Half his life has been at this footy club, and he's served it so well. But he's got another chapter will open up for him in terms of what he does with his life after this Saturday. But he's still got one more to go, and we're hoping that we can put in a really good performance. But we're up against a side that's also going to be having the same set of emotions that for Jack and Koch. So all we do know is that the North faithful and the Richmond faithful will get out and see these guys out in the right way.
What sort of hole is he going to leave here at North Melbourne?
Yeah, a pretty significant one. He's captain of the club for I think 7 or 8 years of his time here. So he's highly regarded, and but everyone moves on at some point in time. We're all temporary custodians in a sense, whether that's coaches, administrators, or players. You have your moment in time where you help out your club as best you possibly can in that time, and hopefully the club's been able to help you out in terms of where you want to go with your life too, and it's a nice, happy relationship, and that's certainly been the case with Jack Ziebell. I'd like to think that he's received a lot from the North Melbourne Footy Club in his journey here in the AFL, but also that he's given this club so much, and when it's about 50-50 even split, you've probably had a pretty good relationship.
Will you go in with a degree of confidence after pushing the Bombers so close?
Yeah, we've been pleased that we've been in games the last two. I think even going back to about halfway through the season, I think we've lost 5 games by under 10 points out of the last 10 or 12. And I know it's easy to say, oh, you win all 5. You're never going to win all 5 of those close games, but what we're pleased about is that we're in contests, and like last week's game. Outside of a brief patch in the last quarter, I think 10 points separated the sides, no greater than that for the bulk of the game, and there's 10 lead changes, and we just couldn't get the job done in terms of our polish. But we're pleased that we're in games, and the week before we played against Melbourne, and for a quarter and a half we actually really served it up against the Demons, and just their experience and polish, and their management of the ground and the stages of the game was just a bit better than ours, and they ended up overwhelming us in the end. But we're pleased that we're in games, and we'll just see how we can get into the game against the Tigers. They're a good outfit. They've got a lot of premiership players and experienced players playing for them, and so it's not going to be an easy task. And MCG, big crowd, but we're up for the challenge and see how we go.
Ben Mackay was really influential against the Bombers. Since you've come back to the role, have you sort of sat down with him? Has there been any kind of pitch to him to stay at the club next season?
Oh, listen, we want him to stay, but I've been involved in this caper for a long period of time. There's probably no bigger player in the game than Buddy Franklin, and he was one of the first of the free agent players to leave and go to Sydney, and we weren't happy with it at the time because we obviously wanted him to stay at Hawthorn at the time, but the club was still able to prosper once he left. He went to Sydney, and he was able to prosper as a player. His lifestyle prospered, so everyone can still win from these situations. So if Ben decides to stay, he's been at our footy club for 7 or 8 years, and we feel like he's just ready to blossom into a really good key defender. He's already a good key defender, but his best 7 or 8 years should be in front of him now. But if he was to leave, then that's his choice. That's the whole situation with free agency, and you've got to be prepared both sides. And I know there's been ongoing dialogue. From what I can gather, he hasn't made his decision at this point in time, and not many do. It's not like rugby league or EPL or NBA where You declare who you're going to be playing for even while you're still playing for the club. The culture of our game is you don't usually make your decision until the season's finished, and that's what we'd expect, and we'll probably find out in 2 or 3 weeks' time.
I know you probably won't come to a contract decision with Liam Shields until you sit down at the end of the season, but is the indication from him that he wants to play on another season?
Yeah, well, we've got to be mindful of just of the balance of our list and the amount of experienced guys that go off the list. And it's one thing to go really, really skinny in terms of experience, and another where you want to actually keep some of that experience around too. So with some of the retirements of Zeebs and Hawley and also Cunners, that might play into our thinking that Shieldsy might play for another year, but we'll work that out in the fullness of time. It's the same with Goldie too. He's in the same situation, and a couple of our other older players, and we'll work that out in the fullness of time. We always knew, and as is the case, Sean Bergen, I think, had 7 one-year contracts. Just kept on just leaving it till the end of the year. We'd sit down with him and say, "Yep, we're happy to go again. You're happy to go again," and that might be the case with both Goldie and Pup, or they might say, "No, I'm ready to move on to the next chapter," but we'll have that discussion with them once the season finishes.
You guys ruled out for there's only 2 games left, but the rest of the season. Can you just talk us through those decisions with Wardlaw? And
Georgie. He's. We'll probably wind him up now for the year. He's played about 12 or 13 games for the year. He didn't really have a pre-season at all. And he hasn't done an AFL pre-season yet. So he's what we call training age. His training age is 0, and so we need to get him fully conditioned. He's on a bit part pre-season. He couldn't get himself to the line, so we stripped him right back and then did a 10-week pre-season and got him fit enough to be able to contribute. But we just need to get him. We just need to get him strong. So he finished out the game last week, pulled up tight. It's just like, why are we playing this kid if he's not absolutely cherry ripe? And he's cherry ripe going into the game, but he's just pulled up tight, can't train properly. If he hasn't got a perfect preparation, then why would we be taking a risk? So we just need to put some time into him, and he needs to rest for a start, and then a strong pre-season. Hopefully by this time next year we can say he's got a training age of 1, but he's able to get some strong footy in next year because of the good pre-season that he's had.
You must be excited by what he can do when he actually gets a pre-season, considering.
Listen, he's a great competitor, and we need competitors in our side, and this game is all about that. It's a brutal game. There's more players on this field than any other combative ball sport in the world. So, if you're not combative in your mindset, you're in a little bit of trouble at different stages. And pleasingly for him and us, he's a bull that just loves the contest. But because he's like that, we also need to make sure his body's strong enough to withstand the rigours of the game. And thus far, we've been able to identify that he's not quite at that strength yet, and hopefully we'll get him there over the next couple of years.
Speaking of bulls that love the contest, it was great to see you out there getting your fingers on the leather, getting back in the drills.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying it again?
Well, the players didn't enjoy it too much. I fumbled a few too many balls for what their liking was, but it's good to get back amongst it again. And so we're really looking forward to this week's contest. It's a big game. I know we're celebrating, the Pink Lady game, particularly the Melbourne Hawthorn game on the Sunday. It's pretty close to our heart. Huey Greenwood lost his mum to breast cancer, and obviously Sonia went through that ordeal earlier this year. So it's pretty close to the heart of our club. But I said to the players this morning, I don't think there'd be any player in the room that wasn't touched by breast cancer in some sort of form, of whether it's a loved one or whether it's a friend or someone that they know. So it's a little bit like MND. It's a great cause, but there's just so many other causes that we want to fight hard for to give our respect to and raise money for. But this is the one for this week, and the Pink Lady game is a great game. We'll be doing whatever we can on the Saturday too to obviously acknowledge it and wear these beanies and just bring it to the forefront of people's minds to know that they're. I think Huey Greenwood spoke to the players this morning and said there's 100,000 people diagnosed. So if you imagine, MCG full, I think there might be 60 or 70,000 there on Saturday's game against the Tigers. If you imagine that amount of people that have all been implicated by breast cancer in some sort of way over the last 12 months, it's a lot of people, and some survive and some don't. So whatever awareness we can bring to it is a special thing. And as I said, with Sonia having gone through it and Huey as well, we're keen to put a bit of a spotlight on it for this weekend.
Well said.
Good on you guys. Thank you. Cheers.